So, how exactly does the invincible, supreme protector of the universe go about orchestrating his very own demise? I mean, it sounds impossible, right?
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unraveling the deeply complex and honestly kind of wild legend of Lord Krishna. We're not just rehashing the standard myths here, we're actually going to break down his life by looking at three distinct, really fascinating faces he wore. Let's get right into it.
Act 1. The Divine Strategist.
Okay, so when we picture divinity, we usually imagine this pure, passive benevolence. But out on the battlefield, Krishna was a completely different story. He showed a ruthless, highly calculating commitment to the greater good. Take the demon Kaliyavan. When this guy was chasing Krishna, Krishna didn't just turn around and blast him with divine power. He used deception, brilliant deception. He lured Kaliyavan into this pitch-black cave where an ancient king named Muchukunda was fast asleep. Krishna just quietly covers the sleeping king with his own yellow robe and hides. So Kaliyavan walks in, sees the figure, assumes it's Krishna, and arrogantly kicks him. The king wakes up, and thanks to an ancient boon, his blazing gaze literally reduces the demon to ashes right then and there. A flawless, bloodless tactical victory.
And that ruthless pragmatism went even further. We all know the tragic tale of Ekalavya, right? The poor wrong pupil crying in the forest over a severed thumb, but actually, scratch that, the story doesn't stop there. Ekalavya grew up. He became this nearly invincible adult warrior, but he was fighting for the wrong side. So what happened? It was Krishna himself who stepped in and executed this formidable warrior, shattering his skull with a heavy stone just to protect the world. The divine protector absolutely did not shy away from getting his hands dirty when the fate of the entire universe was on the line. Now let's look at another literal mind-bender of a puzzle Krishna had to solve. Enter Barbarika. This warrior had 3 infallible arrows, and their sequence was terrifyingly precise. Arrow 1, it marks everything you want to destroy. Arrow 2, it marks what you want to save. Arrow 3, it destroys all the marked targets and then zips right back into the quiver. We're talking about a guy who could wipe out entire armies in literally 1 minute.
But here was the catch, and this is where Krishna's unbelievable foresight comes in. Barbarika had made a strict vow to his mother that he would always fight for the weaker side. Krishna instantly saw the apocalyptic paradox here. If Barbarika joined the weaker side, his sheer power would instantly obliterate the stronger side, which would suddenly make them the new weaker side. Barbarika would just have to switch sides over and over in this endless oscillation of slaughter until nobody but him was left alive.
So what does the Grand Orchestrator do? To stop this total annihilation, Krishna disguised himself and went to Barbarika before the war even started. He asked for a charitable gift, Barbarika's head. By establishing this rule that the absolute bravest warrior's head had to be sacrificed to sanctify the battlefield, Krishna totally neutralized the ultimate weapon before a single arrow was ever fired. It's a stark reminder that sometimes the biggest victories are won before the battle even begins.
Act 2. The Weight of True Devotion.
All right, moving away from all the blood and strategy, let's look at what this Supreme Lord actually valued more than all the kingdoms and gold in the world. Have you heard of the Tulabara ritual? It's where you weigh yourself against valuable goods like gold, ghee, or rice to distribute to the people. Well, Satyabhama, who was Krishna's incredibly proud and very wealthy wife, decided to use this to show off. She wanted to literally balance Krishna's weight with her massive fortune of gold. But, as you might guess, Krishna is an absolute master at teaching humility. Satyabhama piled on all her riches, gold, jewels, the whole shebang, and the scale didn't budge a single millimeter. She was completely humiliated. Then, his other wife, Rukmini, steps up. She places just one single, devoted tulsi leaf on the balance, and boom, Krishna's side shoots right up. The sheer weight of all that vanity was absolutely nothing compared to the weight of true, simple devotion. It goes to show you, intention will always outweigh material wealth.
And you know, true devotion was actually shockingly rare. Take this one time Krishna rushed out to save a devotee from a tiger. He actually stopped in his tracks and turned back because he saw the man pick up a stone to defend himself. Krishna just left this half-devotee to his own devices because the guy relied on a rock instead of pure faith. And then there was the ultimate test, the fake headache.
Krishna pretended to have this debilitating headache and told everyone the only cure was for a true devotee to rub the dust from their feet onto his head. It was a total trap. When he asked his queens and even the great sage Narada, they completely freaked out. They refused. They were terrified because putting foot dust on the Lord's head was a massive sacrilege, and they genuinely feared they'd burn in hell forever. Their devotion had hard limits, completely bound by self-preservation.
But the gopis, the simple cowherd girls of Vrindavan, they didn't hesitate for a split second. The moment they heard Krishna was in pain, they danced wildly on a piece of cloth just to gather up as much dust as possible. They were more than happy to risk eternal hellfire if it meant curing him. For Krishna, that reckless, boundary-breaking love was everything. He didn't care about rigid piety. He wanted absolute surrender.
Act 3. The Mortal End.
Because you see, in this universe, even a god walking the earth in human form is bound by destiny and the strict, cyclical consequences of karma. After the absolute catastrophe of the Kurukshetra war, a furiously grieving Queen Gandhari confronted Krishna. She cursed him. She demanded to know why he didn't use his divine power to stop the slaughter of her 100 sons. In her rage, she cursed that his golden city of Dwaraka would be submerged and that his own kin would perish by slaughtering each other.
And how does the Supreme Orchestrator react to this? Just a gentle smile. Krishna completely accepted her devastating curse, simply telling her that it would all come to pass in exactly 36 years. He knew his time was limited, and he just welcomed the turning of the cosmic wheel.
The doom of his family unfolded in this chillingly precise butterfly effect. Event 1, the arrogant Yadava princes decide to mock some visiting sages. Event 2, the sages get angry and curse Krishna's son, Samba, to give birth to a deadly iron mace that will destroy their race. Event 3, they panic, grind the mace into powder, and toss it in the sea. But Event 4, one single triangular piece remains and gets swallowed by a fish. And finally, Event 5, that fish is caught, and that exact piece of iron is forged into a hunter's arrow.
That hunter's name was Jara. One day, as Krishna is resting in the forest, Jara sees something glowing through the leaves. It was Krishna's foot, shining brightly. Jara mistakes it for the eye of a deer, and he releases that exact cursed iron arrow, the fatal blow to the Divine Lord.
When Jara realizes what he's just done, he is absolutely horrified. He's weeping. But Krishna, bleeding out and at the very end of his mortal life, smiles one last time. He forgives the hunter on the spot, calmly saying, "This too is part of the plan." He peacefully accepts his predestined departure. It's an unbelievably profound lesson in just accepting the things we cannot change.
Epilogue: The Eternal Heart.
But wait, because the epic tale of Krishna doesn't actually end with his final breath, or even the flames of his cremation. According to these deeply held legends, when Krishna's mortal body was placed on the funeral pyre, everything turned to ash, except for one thing, his divine heart. The legend says his heart, still glowing and pulsating with eternal life, simply refused to burn. It remained completely untouched by the fire and eventually floated right out into the sea.
So what happened to it? Well, supposedly it was found years later by a king, hidden inside a sacred floating log. They then placed it deep inside the wooden idol of Lord Jagannath in Puri. And even today, during an incredibly secretive ancient ritual called Nabhakalabhara, which happens every 12 to 19 years, this hidden essence is physically transferred from the old wooden idol into a newly carved one, always under the cover of pitch-black darkness.
Which leaves us with this truly haunting, beautiful question. We've seen him as a ruthless strategist, a lover of pure devotion, and a god totally bound by mortal karma. But does the eternal heart of the universe's divine strategist still beat within a wooden idol today? It's an incredible thought, right? Bridging ancient mythology directly into our modern world. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the legends around you.